Ever had that sinking feeling? You buy something, it doesn't work, and you just feel stuck? Well, in this explainer, we're going to flip that script. We'll dive into the rights you already have and show you how to go from just a buyer to a truly empowered consumer. Because at the end of the day, knowledge really is your best protection.
Let's start with this powerful idea from Mahatma Gandhi. Just think about that for a second. It paints this picture of a world where the customer is at the absolute center of everything, where businesses exist because of you. That's the ideal, right? The gold standard?
But let's be real. Does that really match our everyday experience? When you're stuck on an endless customer service call or that brand new gadget breaks the very next day, do you feel like royalty? Yeah, the answer is usually a pretty frustrating no.
The truth is, the modern marketplace can be a bit of a minefield. We've all seen misleading ads that promise the world, prices that seem to magically go up, and sometimes you even run into outright fakes. Then you've got things like adulteration, where products get mixed with cheaper stuff, and all sorts of other shady practices. This is exactly why consumer protection is so critical.
So that brings us to our first big topic. Why do we even need protection in the first place? If the consumer is supposed to be the king of the market, why does the king need a shield? Well, first, let's be super clear about who we're talking about. What even is a consumer? Legally, it's anyone who buys a product or pays for a service. So, yeah, that's pretty much all of us, every single day.
The need for that shield really comes down to a fundamental power imbalance. See, on one side, you've got us, individual consumers. We're scattered, we're unorganized, and finding good, reliable information can be tough. But on the other side, you've got sellers, and they're usually organized, well-funded, and powerful. It's rarely a fair fight.
So, how do we balance the scales? The answer is in what I like to call your consumer toolkit. It's a set of fundamental rights designed specifically to protect and empower you. So let's open it up and see what's inside.
And this isn't some new idea. The whole concept got a huge boost way back in 1962 from U.S. President John F. Kennedy. Fun fact, that's why March 15th is now celebrated as World Consumer Rights Day. Okay, so these are the core tools in your kit. You've got the right to safety, information, and choice, the right to be heard and educated, and, maybe most importantly, the right to redress, which is just a fancy way of saying the right to get a problem fixed. Let's take a closer look at a few of these. First up, the right to safety. This is a big one. It's your right to be protected from anything that could actually harm you. Think about faulty electronics or unsafe food. A good habit is to look for quality marks like ISI or AGM mark. They're basically a stamp of approval that a product has met safety standards.
Next, the right to information. You are absolutely entitled to know the basic facts about what you're buying. How much does it cost? What's in it? When was it made and when does it expire? All of that info should be right there so you can make a smart choice.
The right to choose is what keeps things fair and competitive. It means no one seller can force you to buy their product. This right is what guarantees you have options at different prices. It's the exact opposite of a monopoly, where you have no choice at all. And here's where the real power kicks in, the right to redress. If a product is junk or a service is terrible, you have the right to a real solution. That could be a repair, a full replacement, or your money back. It's not just about complaining, it's about getting a fair result.
But, and this is a big but, rights aren't a one-way street. To be a truly empowered consumer, you also have responsibilities. So let's flip the coin and look at the other side.
What's so cool here is seeing how these two things are linked. Your right to redress is pretty useless if you don't take on the responsibility of actually filing a complaint. And your right to choose becomes way more powerful when you're a cautious consumer who does a little homework. It's a partnership.
So the bottom line is you have to be an active player in your own protection. Ask questions, always get a receipt and a warranty card, be a little skeptical of ads that seem too good to be true, and maybe most importantly, when you have a genuine problem, you have to take that step and file a complaint. Which brings us to our final and most practical section. What do you actually do when things go wrong? How do you use this system to get justice?
Well, in India, the main framework for this is the Consumer Protection Act of 2019. It was built from the ground up to create a system that's simple, fast, and affordable for regular people to use.
The Act sets up this three-tier system, and it's all based on the value of what you're claiming. For claims up to 1 crore rupees, you start at the District Commission. For anything between 1 and 10 crore, you'd go to the State Commission. And for the really big cases, over 10 crore, It's the National Commission.
And if you're not happy with a decision, there's a clear path to appeal. You can take a district decision up to the state level. A state decision can go to the National Commission, and from there, the final stop is the Supreme Court. There are also clear time limits at each stage to make sure things keep moving.
When it's all said and done, it all comes back to this one simple, powerful idea. The laws, the rights, the commissions, they are all there to help you. But your first and your best line of defense is always going to be knowledge.
So, we started with that idea of the consumer as king. The reality is obviously more complicated, but the tools for your protection are very real and they're very accessible. So the only question left is, now that you know what's in your toolkit, are you ready to use it?